Is Dane still back in the driver's seat?
Yeah, I'm still back.
Okay, good.
Yep. Always consistent. We had a lot of new names come in tonight.
I saw that.
Nobody asked about their welcome packet.
good.
I don't get it.
Well, the guy from that told us about the T-shirt thing. We all,
Yeah, I've been looking up how-to videos on YouTube. Trying to figure out how to add that stuff to my turnings. He posted some of the pictures he posted were pretty cool. I'm not sure. I have to figure something out.
Yeah, I didn't see them.
But one of them, it was a sort of a turned platter with red flowers on it. It's pretty cool. What'd you drop, Joaquin?
Something I'm messing with.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not, it's like a whole new thing. How do you add that? You got to do some skull sweat to figure out what you're going to do with it. And I don't, it's clearly an embellishment you add after the fact, right? But you have to plan for it. So, it's like anything else. It, requires some thinking about it and so on. So he's clearly been doing it for years. He's some great colors and some great pieces. So it's very cool.
Yeah, I caught the tail end of that black carved chalice that he showed. That interactive background, it interferes with what the photo looks like so bad you can hardly tell what it is.
Yep, I hear you. But you got enough glimpses of it to see what he was doing, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, but there are a bunch of how-to videos on YouTube, of course, for using that Powertex stuff. So I don't know. This is what's that?
Is it a resin or?
Honestly, I think it kind of looks like a glue.
Yeah, it's a resin type solution that hardens and solidifies your fabrics. There's a lady up here that uses it and actually sells it. She creates like fabric sculpture.
So that's
both fabric
I
on
know
her
what
own,
it is.
but also fabric on mannequins.
It's what they
And
used
then
to
I've
make
seen
micarta for knife handles. I know what it is now.
micarta.
Yeah,
Could use that too, but
making micarta.
it's
I know.
pretty
Very cool.
It almost looks like wood glue, because I always asked him the question, is there a difference between using a PVA glue and Powertex other than the cost of it? Because we can, in the UK, we can buy gallons of PVA glue for no money at all, whereas a gallon of that Powertex is really quite expensive. But he did say that he'd never tried PVA glue. He's just always used the Powertex and had good results. And I've always been a big believer in, if you find something that works, it costs you more to experiment and find something else. So once you've found it, stick with it.
Well, it was interesting. It was interesting, Martin, that Ruby said it's like paper mache, which paper mache is basically PVA glue mixed with water, right?
That's right.
And so, I mean, I've used, I did that when I was, a kid, right? We all did that in grade school, right? And that, I know that stuff works, but whether or not it would work with cloth is another deal. But it's cheap enough. I mean, we've all got that stuff sitting around the house. It's cheap enough to try it. You know what I mean?
I think she used the papier mâché as more of a way to describe it rather than what it actually was. And I think you find with papier mâché, it breaks a lot easier.
Yeah, it's fragile. You're right. Yep.
When we were at school, we always ripped up newspaper, put it into water and PVA glue, then put it round the balloon and popped the balloon and made the faces or whatever we were making on the papier mâché, but you could crunch them up fairly rapidly, whereas this stuff, it almost dries like kind of like a resin.
Can you turn stuff? Can you turn it? Like if I did something and then put it back on the lathe? No. Okay. All right.
No, it's something that he adds. He tends to go. He'll put a groove in a bowl in exactly the same way as you would add color to a groove in the bowl, or add resin into a groove in a bowl.
Right, like inlay or something, like inlay stone or something.
How
Okay.
big that groove is going to be, then he will cut his material to fit in that groove, but then he kind of wrinkles the material in it. He makes sure that he's got enough material to kind of wrinkle into it and give it that texture where it stands out from his bowl. I suppose with that stuff, it ends up being purely an ornamental bowl, but very nice results, or very good results.
I mean, those chalices looked functional, even though he had it on there.
Yeah,
Martin, have you actually seen his stuff? Does the stuff get really hard?
it does get really hard. Yeah, it's almost like plastic. You can tap it. It gets it. It does. It's almost like you would dip it into some type of resin. But I mean, I've seen him. He did a short demo on our club about maybe even certainly 2 years ago, just showing us how he sort of mixed this stuff up and laid the stuff out. And he uses different dyes, because I believe you can buy that stuff in all different colours, whereas he doesn't buy it in different colours. I think he uses a dye and then he uses one colour. I don't know whether it's a clear or whether it's a white that goes clear, but he certainly doesn't buy it, from what I remember, in lots of different colours. He dyes his materials, which then can give him all sorts of different effects. You know, you'd be able to do the sort of crumpled effect that you used to do with your, well, we certainly used to do it with our trousers and our t-shirts and that kind of thing.
You're talking a lot about the tie-dye stuff, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
When
Well,
I was a kid, we didn't have enough money, so we used food colouring.
yeah, so did we.
We used to tie it up and dip it into food colouring and bleach.
That's right. Yeah, totally, man. That's what we did too. All right. Well, that's very useful. Thank you, Martin. I appreciate it.
It's certainly something that doesn't get around a lot. I think even on YouTube, you might find it difficult to see somebody adding it to wood turning. It is out there a lot for, like what Katie was saying. There is a lot of people do models and they'll wrap various items like crosses and models of varying sorts.
Yeah, they're doing like fabric sculptures and things like that. Yeah.
Certainly Kevin was the first person that I sort of come across. I'm not saying that he is the first to do it, but it was certainly the first that I come across using this as prolifically as he does within his turnings.
Yeah, his work is great. It's great fun. Very cool. Yet another learning curve to add to my list.
I think he enjoys using the Powertex as much as he enjoys turning.
Yeah, I believe it. Well, he's added some very unique and beautiful embellishments to his work, so I certainly understand it. And the pressing of the wood dust into molds and making those leaves is also another sort of thing too. So that's interesting too. So lots to think about.
And like I say, I'm sure it's done over there. So I would imagine you guys can probably buy it a lot cheaper than we can.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, all the videos I see are all coming out of Australia, so I'm not sure how this all, where it is all from, but
yeah.
There's a lot to do with this. So it's,
What's it called, Martin?
Powertex.
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 Dan, while you're there and I've got your attention, well done tonight.
Oh, thank you, Martin.
I didn't type it in the chat. But yeah, good demo tonight. Well done.
Appreciate it.
It's always good to see when somebody else gets a catch.
Yeah, right.
It was
Yeah.
always good, wasn't it?
It's been a while, let me tell you.
If you get one catch a month, you're going to do it on a demo.
But the thing of it is, in all honesty, it wasn't a catch. I'd pulled it back and I was just trying to talk the tool action, and I didn't realize how freaking
good.
close I was.
Yep.
Freaking jammed it in there good.
Yeah, we all get our heads down in our workshops, but when you've got to do the two things, try to talk, communicate, it's always
I understand.
a lot more difficult.
Amen.
Yeah, we've all gone through that.
Yeah, it happens. Good demo.
Yeah, it never fails, you know. It's although I do got to say I've been fortunate in all my prior demos.
Well, it was recoverable, and you made the best of it, and that's what matters. So, nicely done, Dane.
Carried on.
Right, I think
Yeah, I
I'm
didn't
gonna
plan on
call it
doing
a
a
night.
full-on die job, but you heading out?
Yep.
All right. We'll see you later.
Yep.
Good night, Mark.
Everybody have a good night.
Hey, take care, man.
Yeah,
I
you
got to figure out how to shut my head off after all the information I got tonight.
Hey Dane, I got a question on air compressor.
Yeah.
I got one that's shooting water and oil and I can't get it to stop. Should I junk it and get a new one or?
Ooh. Couldn't tell you on that. Seems like should be a filter that can be changed out on that.
How about the drain also? Has the tank been drained?
Yeah, I've drained the tank. I drained the tank. It's just a small little belly one. But,
Oh, is it a little 10-gallon or 5-gallon?
yeah,
Yeah, those are throwaway.
I figure have to get a new one.
have a water.
I replaced my California Tool compressor, which had the auto drain attachment to it. So every time it would purge or recharge, it would supposedly drain out all the water. But lo and behold, the first set of holes that appeared were at the top where the motor mounts were rusted out. I patched them, and then of course later on, a couple months later, the seam at the bottom going into where the drain valve was at, it rusted out. So a year ago, I got a 20-gallon Home Depot Husky brand, the Quiet Series, and it's even quieter than what California Tools was, and a larger capacity. And thus far, I've been happy with it. And when it drains water, it really drains the water out. The valve is dead center in the bottom of the tank.
Has anybody got a dental drill for piercing?
No.
I picked up one and I don't know anything about it. Got two lines that go to it.
What's that? Sorry, I missed that.
A dental drill for piercing.
Oh,
Well, Kane, I got an NSK.
I'm gonna go get it out of the shop. I got some questions, okay?
What kind is yours?
It's a SoCo. Let me go get it because I got I need some details.
yeah, the NSK is great.
Dang, that was a good demo.
Do what?
That was a good demo. What kind of wood was that?
It was the apple.
Dane, what angle you grinding your skews at? 25 degrees?
No idea. Let me look.
That's not a question to ask.
Yeah.
And
Nice
normally
words.
they're 25 degrees on either
That's
side,
not-
but
That's not a good question to ask.
Every wood turner is different.
No, I know, but I know, but just to base it off of,
Yeah, you're better off grinding it and having a go with it, and then
Yep.
grinding it and having a go with it.
okay,
Honestly, if you haven't used a skew, you will find your own way. I have my skew is very different to theirs, very, very different to theirs. The way I grind my skew is different to theirs. The way that I use my skew is different to theirs. It's the way I use mine is probably different to the world because there's a bit of a story about it. The story comes right from the start when I bought myself a skew, and I kept getting exactly what Dane did tonight. Bang after bang after bang. And I was creating these curls, but nothing else from it. And I did what every man does. Went to look for the instructions. Well, they don't do them. Tools do not come with instructions. So what I started doing was, in my head, the skew was the wrong way around. It was upside down. Because I figured having something sticking up in the air as my wood was coming round, it was causing me a problem. So I actually turned my skew upside down and started working with it like that. And it was only when I was at my local club and I watched somebody else and I said to him, I said, is that how you're supposed to use a skew? And he said, yeah, been using one for years. And I said, but I don't use mine like that. Mine's the other way around. And he said, it can't be. He said, it's impossible to use a skew like that. I said, it isn't. I said, because that's what I'm doing. And he said, Martin, it won't work. I said, well, I have been. And I showed him. And he said, I don't know what you're doing. He said, it's not supposed to work. None of that can work. You need to turn it round. And I then learned to turn it round and use it the other way. What that has now done for me is whichever way it is, doesn't really matter.
Last week I showed how to do it as well.
The skew for me, it's probably one of my go-to tools. Normally there is two on the bench. You know, that's always on my lathe. The ones that I use all the time, that's the roughing gouge and the skew. It's the two tools that I use to create most of my work. But many people would say you shouldn't be using your skew like that. I don't care.
What do you mean upside down, Martin? I don't understand.
Cutting them with the show.
Try and show you.
As long as it works for you, you're doing it right. Right? Because even when I was over there,
You're doing good.
turned with Martin, our skews were totally opposite. We used them different ways, but we still got the same results.
right.
And I think that is the key element, and that's why I jumped in there, Dennis, because ultimately the way that somebody else, I noticed certainly on Kate's skew and on Dane's tonight, if Kate or Stephen has their skew to hand, and text me off bloody big picture for a moment.
Yeah, I have one here. Actually, I have like three.
You've got
Here.
your skew there, or Dane's got his skew there. They are both fairly well rounded.
Right.
Just highlight Kate's. See how round his is.
That's it's like a round nose. Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And I have double bevel.
Yeah.
Yep.
And here's mine.
Yeah. And I also have some like that as well, or even straighter.
Well, the funniest thing was, Cade, the first time I saw you using the skew, you was doing that little old narrow skew. And I said, what in the world is he using that little bitty thing? I happened to have one and found out you have less mistakes with that little thing than you do a 1-incher.
Yep. And that's what I teach. Whenever I teach the skew, I always teach the 1/2-inch skew, because if you can use the 1/2-inch skew, it's a lot easier to go up or down in size.
Right.
If you learn on a 1-incher, it's almost harder to go down
Yeah, ever since I use my 3/4 all the time instead of the bigger ones.
Yeah, it's just
you-
that spot gets smaller and smaller the smaller the skew gets.
Yeah.
Seems like the rounded corners are better, so you won't catch, you won't have those sharp points on both ends.
Well, it will catch just as bad and skate just as bad if you present it incorrectly, but it's really what I find when I come around corners, especially in beads and really tight beads with really sharp curves, I'm less likely to catch the opposing bead as I come around that corner by having those points swept back. But also if I use it for a peeling cut or a box cut or a box scraper, by having that curve, the point never gets buried in between the two surfaces of the wood because I have that little bit of an air gap at the point. So I'm only contacting the tip and the straight side of the skew. So I'm not contacted on full surface area, which would give you a much more violent catch
Right.
if you're using it as the scraper. But I mean, it all comes down to preference because when I teach, I always teach the traditional style skew that's very straight, very sharp. And then I show them my modified skew, which I prefer to use now. And then I allow them to choose and experiment and go from there, see which one works best for them. Glenn Lucas also has one that's like a curve skew, which looks like a round nose scraper. And it works well as well, but it's got a much heavier curve on it. Here it is here.
Yeah.
There's a much bigger curve and a longer curve on it. So it's used the exact same presentation, same roll, same sweep, same sweet spot. It's preference really. Now, I don't like one that's this curved. I much prefer one with the slight curve or the traditional straight-sided, sharp-cornered ones.
Yeah.
But this one does make a really good round nose scraper for like bowls or profiling bowls or boxes. But I have it so I can show the differences and talk about it. And when I bought it, I thought it might have been something cool and something to learn, but it just wasn't my thing. I like the two that I use more often.
I'm in taking care of the cat for the shot.
Yeah, I can highlight you for a sec. Your spotlight for everyone. There you are.
The difference on my skew to Cade's skew, and I'll show you on one of the larger ones, is my points. You will notice that this angle here is a lot more skewed than Cade's is. So when you're taking an inch skew, by dragging that all the way down, you're creating 1.25 inch cutting edge. The same on this little smaller round one, which is a 1/2 inch. I'm actually creating nearly 3/4 inch across that cutting edge here. I also use my points very, very differently to the likes of Cade because I can use my points. Tonight, when Dane cut the end of his skew, the one that I use predominantly is this one because I prefer a round. I prefer a round bar skew because it allows me to move it very, very easily on the tool rest. Dane tonight, when he did his demonstration, he cut at the end like this. Yeah. So the movement that Dane was doing, and you will see Cade doing, is cutting down this bevel. For me, because I've got the point, I will get the same cut that way on.
Yep.
Now, some would say that I'm scraping, but if I undo that, I am getting a very, very clean cut on the end in exactly the same way that Dane was getting a very clean cut on his. Just two different ways of using the tool.
Yeah.
What I was saying earlier on, let me just get rid of some of this.
Okay, I'm back.
The skew is held up so that the point is up over. And it runs across the top. There. When the tool is presented, this is pointing up over, and this is pointing down over. What I was saying, Joaquin, is when I first started using the skew, I was the other way around.
Oh, you were? Yeah.
Yeah, I was too. It was easier to use
Really?
that way until I figured it out the other way.
Yeah. I've never done it that way. That's interesting. Oh,
You can really
my
remove
skew-
material that way.
My skew is actually upside down as I'm using it there. There is no difference than coming in the correct way.
yep.
There's no difference coming up the correct way, not a problem. The difference with this point, when I go around the corner, the misconception of the skew is that you are not using either of the points. But actually, when you're going into end grain, you need point contact. And if you haven't got point contact, you'll find that you will come back out of the material a lot quicker. So when I go around the corner into there, I've got point contact. Did you see that cut as it come round?
Yes.
I've got that point contact. Now watch the same movement again.
You're not likely to get a catch that way as you would standard, it looks like to me.
Point contact the whole time. Didn't matter which end it was, whether it was upside down, back to front, left to right, backwards and forwards. You've always got that contact, and that's all for me I needed to know. And that's why I picked this tool up all the time. Whatever shape I was going on to there, I can go this way,
Yeah.
I can go here, and I can pull it back round on a curve cut to create a ball.
That's very interesting, Martin.
A very, very different way of using a skew than Cade or Dane.
Yep.
That is nothing more than doing it wrong at first, learning from the mistake, and then doing it my way. Don't care what anybody else says I can or can't do. I just do it my way, and it works very well for me.
I appreciate you sharing that. That's very interesting.
That's
So-
very insightful.
Don't let them tell you you're doing it wrong. Don't let them tell you how you need to grind it. Try it, work with it, and choose your tool.
Mhm.
Well, thanks for that, Martin. That's a different way of looking at it. Very helpful.
I always say to
I got the measurement on that, Dennis. It was 25 degrees.
Okay. Thanks.
yeah, I always say try grinding your tools, and then try them. If you're getting catches, one of the things I always said to guys at the club, try and get this bit back as far as you can. you know, if you can get rid of this back, what do you call this? The heel.
Yeah.
Try and get rid of some of that heel. Pull it back a little bit. You might find it easier to work with.
Yes.
Even if you put a double bevel on it.
Yeah.
You know, put a double bevel on, get rid of some of that back heel, and you might find it will work a little bit better for you. But there isn't a right or wrong. It's just you've got to make the tool work, and you've got to practice with it.
Right. It's what works for you. That's why I was saying, you know, like with, you know, using that sortie tool. I hadn't used a straight edge, straight skew, and since I started turning, and I'm still of the opinion that ain't no good.
Well, I always say, Dane, you know, even when I go out and do a live demo, I am not here to teach you how to use your tools. All of the stuff that I turn, as a turner, anybody, any new turner can turn the products that I turn.
Right.
They might not turn them as quick. There's nothing complicated in my work. It is just thinking about what you're doing and tool control. I don't go and teach anybody how to use tools because my tools are very different. I always say you'll never be able to steal my tools because I always know my tools, they're blue off the grinder. You know the bit that you shouldn't get blue, it's always bloody blue.
That's not true. They say that you take the temper out of your tool when it turns blue. Well, being an old blacksmith, blue is only 500 degrees. It ain't gonna take the temper out of your tool.
Right.
Well, mine are normally blue, Joaquin.
So am mine. Purple is 600 degrees.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
safe.
Oh.
Get it to straw collar. Now you're talking about temper being gone.
You know, Dane, you're the
Yeah.
first guy that I've run into that uses the straw color. That's how I was taught. The temper straw color.
Well, it's like, I mean,
I dabble in that.
I've just shown you that little tiny bit of turning there with a skew, completely different to what Dane has shown you tonight. But there is no way that I can say Dane doesn't use that skew properly.
Right.
In exactly the same way as Dane probably couldn't turn a ball as quick as I can. With my skew, well, Dane, if you pick my skew up, you'd end up with it across the room. You know, in exactly the same way as I picked Katie's up. I can go to other people's workshops, but I always take my own tools because I would look a right fool if I tried to pick one of theirs up. You do definitely get used to your own tools.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
When I was there, I got one like Martin. I got one of the round bar ones.
Yeah.
I just haven't used it much yet. Oh, here it is here. Here it is here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is, I think this one's 1 inch and an eighth or 1 inch and something, but
Whose
again,
is
it's
that?
around the.
You've got the big boy.
Yeah,
I got
the
you see, I asked Ashley Isles Tools to make me them. So I got the larger one, the 3/4 and the half done.
Yeah, this one's 1 inch, I believe. Let me double check. And then, no, this is 3/4.
3/4.
And
So-
Don Masterson's sitting there with his Russian lathe knife. That's a fun one to use too. I got one of those. Those are fun to use.
Once I got the hang of it, that's the one I reach for all the time.
Yeah, well, Donald, you see, again, there's a story on that one because when many years ago, I applied to become on the professional register, and they come out and assessed me, and away they went, and they told me, you see, under the conditions of the register, I would have had to. What they said to me was, I need to increase my prices. I need to alter some of the finishing on my work, and I must not sharpen my skew the way that I do. And I went back to them and said, I don't want to be on your register, because what you've just actually done is totally asked me to change the fundamentals of my business that I have run for 5 years. You're asking me to increase the prices to my customers that are buying from me. You're asking me to improve the finish that they're not asking me to improve. And you're telling me not to use a tool that I use all the time.
Exactly.
So they said that
Yeah.
they said that the tool, because of the angle on the skew, was dangerous. I then found the Russian guy who was using the Russian knife. And I sent them a picture of the Russian knife and said, what does that remind you of? Because this has been used for hundreds of years across the continent. And you're telling me I can't use something very similar in the UK. So they did back down on that one, but that's how the Russian knives come across, because I emailed the guy and said to him, where do you buy them from? And he said, they come in from Hungary. And I was traveling backwards and forwards to Hungary, and I met the guy who has made the Russian knives for nearly 70 years. And I ended up buying some of the Russian knives to play with. I thoroughly enjoy using them. It become very much as much of a hobby to me, using the Russian knife. Whenever I wasn't turning full time, I would get the Russian knife out and have a go at it.
My only complaint about the Russian knife is I wish they'd use high-speed steel in it.
Yeah, they're a real struggle, because you do have to keep sharpening them up, because they're not, you see, because they're hand forged, so they're drawn out, and of course the high speed steel isn't as easy to come by over there.
I saw a version that Colwyn Way made and modified, and he has a Russian lathe knife that's made with high-speed steel. He also has the German one that he does too.
Is that the one insert for the high-speed steel?
Pardon?
Is that the one with the insert for the high-speed steel?
No,
it's actually a full skew, full length skew, and it's all high speed steel instead of carbon steel. I saw him use it at the wood turning symposium last year. But I mean, the carbon steel ones are just as good. You just hone them. You never touch it through a grinder.
I think he brought them in from Spain.
Yeah, he might have. He was talking about them. I didn't pay much attention because I have one. I don't need another one. And then I have my skews I'm accustomed to. So
I don't think he sells them. I don't think he's bought them in to sell. I think he just wanted one.
Oh, okay.
From what I understand. And it was a Spanish maker that made him one, that forged him one.
This non-student is going to Turkey.
But no, they're normally carbon steel, Donald.
Intelligence says that Russia will probably rejoin the Green Deal. This is a very interesting statistics of the Ukrainian air defense operation. You can see how many drones.
This little bit of that.
I was wondering what Gary was watching then.
Jamaican cake.
Tequila and ginger ale with a little bit of raspberry vodka for a little extra flavor.
There you go.
Well, I'm going to have another half a fag and then I'm going to bed because it's 3:45.
Thanks for the info, Martin. Appreciate it.
No bother.
Yeah, much appreciated, Martin.
Yeah, that was neat.
Well, it taught you how to turn your tool upside down. And that there's no instructions.
Right. Oh, it's hot in here.
But you can even if you've got the straight sided, even if you've got the square, you can still roll it over. I mean, I just prefer the round bar because I find it easier to roll on my tool rest. But if you've got the straight one, you can do exactly the same. You can do exactly the same and roll it over.
Right. Just, I'm gonna round the edge, I've round the edges on it to make it easier, so it'll roll a little easier.
Yeah.
Well, you won't be able to use a round edge like what the guys have got the same way as I can. Like I say, on that end grain, you saw me cut through that end grain
Right,
with it on its side, just using the point and,
Right.
and going through that way. Makes a tremendous clean cut and a lot safer. You're a lot safer when that tool is flat and all you're doing is going in through that corner.
yeah,
Through that.
I haven't ground the curve on the front, but on the edges, I've ground the edges to make it easier to roll.
mm,
Yeah. Well, I have one of them. I don't think I've got it here. I think it's in my box. I have what's called an oval skew.
yeah,
That's got its corners taken off.
Hmm.
Tony Ashley Isles don't actually make it anymore.
The oval skew is what I use for trimming the end grain.
The what one?
The oval skew is what I pulled out and used for the end grain.
I don't have one of those. That's the only one I don't have. I'm not a fan of the oval type skew, I like the rectangular.
That's it. Yeah.
you could
So
grind it.
so I find it works better, doing that straight in
Mm,
get to end grain, doing that nice slicing cut.
That's an oval, Stu?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one. I'm real happy with it. I don't use it all the time, but it's got its places that I like.
Yeah. That's what I use it for primarily.
Mhm.
I've got a 3/4 inch or 1 inch and a half inch.
You can never have too many skews.
Right?
I think the smallest one's a 1/4 inch. Well, actually, I use my 3/8 inch parting tool as a skew sometimes too. For very tiny beads. So,
Yeah, so I got 2 ovals,
and then the biggest one's the 1.5 inch. But
these
and then
standards. Yep. And then,
Probably
yep.
12
And then I've got a
inches.
1/4 inch as well, which I keep in my chisel box.
Yep, I got one of those. Yep. Not the oval, but it's the
That's round.
That's
miniature.
round.
But
Round.
I got it spotlighted now. Yeah.
It's exactly the same as my larger one, but this one is. What do you guys call 1/4?
1/8.
There you are. That's what it is.
3.5 mil.
Yeah.
yeah,
3.5 mil. But your cutting edge is 1/4
Right.
because again with the angle.
Yeah.
But you are increasing by putting that angle on it. You are increasing the cutting edge.
Yeah.
So it's got further to ride if it wants to.
Yeah, I think the overall thickness on my oval skews, they might be 5 mil.
And most of the time, you see, for me, it's kind of quickness. So predominantly, I am using that famous what they class as the spindle roughing gouge. I don't call it a spindle roughing gouge. I call it a spindle shaping gouge, and it shapes it. I'm not one of these people. I hear people saying if you make every cut like your finishing cut, you will improve your items as you go along. I say that if you make every cut like your finishing cut, you're wasting a load of fucking time.
Absolutely.
Get it chopped, get it to shape, then look at your finishing.
100%.
there is certainly more time to when you're roughing out, you can look at a shape, you can stop, you can look at a shape, and you can hit it again with a roughing gouge and rough it out a little bit further or change its shape. This idea of trying to finish something as you're going along does nothing for me.
No.
Yep, definitely rough the shape, then refine the shape, and you're
Yeah.
done. Especially in production. If it's a hobby, use your finishing cut all you want all day and sand for 5 hours. But in production, you're not making any money doing
like to
that.
stand.
Hey, buddy.
Like somebody said earlier tonight, that some people have stock in the sandpaper companies.
Back to Joaquin's question about the drill. What was your question?
Okay, here we go.
Joaquin's brought his drill. Joaquin, I'm not going to be ignorant, but I'm going to go to bed.
Okay.
It's 10 to 4 here in the morning, and I don't have a dentist drill, and I won't be able to answer any of your questions.
All right.
So I am totally useless to this group of people. So I'm off to my bed.
We appreciate you hanging around.
Okay, Marty.
Thanks, Mark.
Your little demo.
I
Talk to you
will
later.
bid you all good night.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Talk
See
to
you
you
later,
later.
guys. I'll speak to you soon, Dan.
All right, sounds good, Martin.
Yeah, take care. Talk to you soon.
Take care, Kate.
All right, Joaquin, I'm gonna spotlight you.
Okay. What I got is this dentist drill, and it's got 2 hoses to it. And one of them, you know, does spin the drill. I'm assuming the second hose is either for water cool or air cool. It's got
The
2.
second hose would have been for water because they use the water to jet to remove black and debris and the drilled tooth dust, and
Well, he's got
it
this.
also cools the drill while it's drilling your teeth.
Well, he's got it hooked up to air, you know. I assume that's why it come this way, and yet he's using air to cool it off as well. I assume. I don't know.
Yeah, if it's air, it would be used to cool it off, but also to push and blow the air dust away from what you're carving or embellishing.
Okay.
In the dental field, it'd be water, but in a woodworking application, it'd be air.
All right. I've never seen one before. I had no idea it had 2 hoses on it, and picked this up from a fella that rigged it all up. He's passed away now, and we're trying to help his wife with getting everything together and selling it and helping her. And I bought this from her, and so I wasn't sure about it. I'm looking forward to using it. And
You're such a good deal on it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd work well.
yeah, so I just assumed that. I wasn't sure why we had a second hose on it. What they do is hook it up and get out there and use it, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It'd be cool.
All right.
Quite a high pitched noise though, so you'll want to wear earplugs.
Yeah, I hadn't even fired it up yet. I just picked it up the other day.
You have to get buddy with your dentist. I usually, when something goes wrong with mine, I take it in my dentist and he fixes it for me.
No kidding.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And every time I go see him, he gives me all of his reject clips, you know, after they use them, they sterilize them. He saves them for me and gives them to me every time I go in there. I must have a couple thousand bits because I don't use as many as he goes through.
That's cool. I asked my dentist for those one time and he was pretty reluctant to give me bits and stuff. He said just in case the kiln or the clave wasn't working properly, it could be a biohazard if he's passing
There's
on
too many
bits to me.
lawyers involved in this, and
Yeah.
Too many lawyers, period.
I have found a bunch of those dental bits that you get from him are not very sharp anymore, though.
No, they wouldn't be.
You're better off just go buying some for a couple bucks a piece or something.
They're pretty cheap. You can get them from a couple places that sell them wholesale. That's what I do.
Yeah,
And
I think you're just as well buying the new ones. Don't try to get the used ones from the dentist because they've
Yeah.
already been dulled.
No, you don't have to be
Very
real
expensive.
sharp.
I'm
to cut
glad you
wood.
made that point, Ty.
You
And
don't know what disease the guy had whose teeth was drilled and if the kiln worked properly.
well, the other thing is I'm finding out what you get from the dentist are not the ones that you need.
Yeah.
Um, it's the 190, it's the 169, and there's one other that you use for piercing are the two primary ones. And then the round ones they use, but the long ones that they don't, the dentists don't use those long ones that we use for piercing.
Uh-huh.
You
What
know,
are they called, Trey?
I'd have to check the numbers, 169. I'm trying to think, my stuff is outside right now. I don't think it's
Yeah, okay.
inside.
196 or 186 or something.
169L, and I think it's 799L. Let me check real quick, see if I have a thing here.
Okay.
The long skinny ones we use for piercing, they use for root canals
Okay.
because they go right down into the root canal to remove all the rot and gunk and roots and decay that was caused from a rotten tooth.
Okay.
And then they use the tiny little files.
I've got about 4 bits, and I don't know how do they last? Do they break? I guess you could break one, getting too rough with it.
Yeah, they would last quite a long time with wood. You'd just have to clean them out. But I mean, they wouldn't dull as quickly as with bone or
Yeah.
teeth. But they should last quite a while. Just don't want to burn them or cake them up with burnt wood.
My box is outside in the shop. I know one of them is 169L. The other, I think, is a 799L, but I'm
I
not
got them
sure.
wrote down. I'll check it out.
Yeah,
The long taper, the L means long,
Okay.
and they're just a taper bit up on the side.
Very good.
And it's not something your dentist would use for filling a tooth.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's a special bit. It's just a long straight bit. I'd have to check. Mine's outside, so I'd have to double check.
Yeah.
It's the one that Ben Post recommended for piercing.
I have them written down somewhere too. I think I have some somewhere.
This one has 699L.
699L is okay. 699L. That's right. And I think 169 is another one.
Okay.
One's for hardwood, one's for softer wood.
Okay. Knowing Richard, he probably got the one that's the best one out there.
699L is the correct one.
Okay.
That rings a bell. That you reshoot my brain cells.
Back, Trey.
Where else could you go for
Sit-
information like
How's it
this?
feel to be sitting in your recliner?
You got it. I'm sitting in the recliner here in the house.
Great, huh?
Yep. Just got back from a long trip out west. Went out through Smoky Mountain National, not Smoky Mountain, the Rocky Mountain National Park, Yellowstone, Custards Park, the head spent, I think 10 days and can't even remember the name of the city. What was that? I can't even remember where it was. Anyhow, spent the last month and a half or so on the road.
Yeah.
I got to
Sorry,
stop
Joaquin,
by
I
and
didn't
visit
mean to
some-
cut you off.
I got stopped by and visited some ornamental turners on the way back too, so that was fun.
And quite the trip. More traveling than I did.
Anybody going to Waco?
I'm going.
Okay. Well, you got a Texas shirt on, you'll be there.
Going. Hello, I'm going.
Cool.
You got a demo, man.
I'm going to be a demonstrator too. Yay!
Yep.
How's the neck feeling?
Better. I got one more week and a half of wearing this thing. It's going to be off forever. So, yeah. I'll be all set and ready to go by Waco time, SWAT time.
We need to get a good list of people that are going to be in Waco with phone numbers so we can share them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to make an announcement about that, like what we did for AAW.
Yeah.
Do that next week. Start doing it each week.
Yeah.
That's good.
Start building that list up for Waco. So we can at least sit face to face and say hi.
Well, that's, Captain's hoping we'll have like before or after one of my demos, everybody will come to that demo room and meet each other and stuff.
We could probably arrange something of that nature.
Yeah, I got a bunch of cards made up, ready to go.
There you go. All right.
I gotta give away cards too. I already got a handful of, you know how many? Captain sent me 4 envelopes today full of, but each of them had like 10 stickers in them. So he gave me like 40 stickers.
Nice.
I don't know why he sent them separate like that. I think he already had them. I think he already had the stickers in the envelopes all set to go. Whoever bought some, you just have to write their address on it. So I think that's why he sent 4 of them instead of 40 in one.
I guess I need to holler at him. I was supposed to get some stickers.
Well, I think if you're on his list, you should get them anytime. He sent them all out just the other day.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that said they received them today. Tim Hatch said he got his today.
Yeah, a lot of people got theirs today or yesterday. So you'll probably get yours soon, either tomorrow, probably, Joaquin. Give it a couple more days and to check with them.
All right.
Probably on the way.
Yeah, you're really going to enjoy it. I demoed out there last year, Scott, and it was just fantastic. I mean,
yeah, that's what I keep hearing. This is going to be my first time there too. So
what you enjoy, the banquet is just fantastic, and the drawings and stuff.
Yeah, I heard you got really good prizes for
Nowhere
that.
close to AAW.
AAW only gives away
It's better than AAW. Is what I mean.
AAW only gives away one prize.
Yeah.
And one late. That's
We normally give away a robust and then 3 mini lays.
and I'll be for the youth area. They actually give those lays away to the kids. They have a drawing for all 10 of them for that, so that's not bad.
Yeah, I taught in that a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they give away the 10 of them plus all the chisels and everything they need. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have a friend that his daughter won one. His granddaughter won in the drawing. And she come back home and never turned.
Yeah, I know some people like that did that. Yeah. They wouldn't
call it a night.
know what to do with it when they got it home.
All right. Good night, Chief.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
All right.
Take care, Dennis.
Take care, Dennis.
All right, we'll see you.
Later. I got Bernie behind me still. See, or is he back there? Hey,
Ever present.
ever present in my shop. He never goes away. I don't know how I'm supposed to get him out of here. One of these days, I'll bring my hand truck in here and just lift him up and push him out the door, I guess.
Yeah, he's like a pimple on prom night, you know, he just won't go away.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, one of these years I'm gonna make it down to SWAT. That'd be cool.
I'm gonna see if I can find a picture of one that I probably can't find it now. Maybe I can. I've got a picture of a Carl Jacobson with Bernie in this bed. I don't know how I came across that, but I found it was a picture of somebody else in the same bed with Carl Jacobson. I put Bernie on top of the other guy.
Yeah.
Gotta see if I can find it though. It's funny.
Oh shoot. Yeah.
See if I can put it up behind. Not in that row. Find it in this one. It's pretty funny looking. I don't know where that picture came from. He put it on his Facebook page. It had somebody else laying next to him. I think it was JP out of England or something when he was visiting or something. And I pulled it up and I put Bernie on top of JP. I'm frantically looking for it. I just saw it the other day too. You would think I would know what file it was in.
Yeah, you would think.
Where are you?
Wonder what Carl thinks of that.
I don't think he's ever seen it. He would laugh. Carl and me are friends, so he would get a kick out of
Friend or not, I'd punch you if you put Bernie beside me.
Right? In the same bed.
Especially that.
Especially in the same bed, right? Where is he? I thought he would be at least in this roll of photos.
This is the last place you look. Go there first.
That's where I'm at.
Oh, wow. I just noticed the dog is not on the couch.
Well, we've got one of them on the couch. The other one's down here at the floor.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The one that turns upside down, he's down.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the one I'm used to seeing always spread eagle.
Yeah, upside down.
Yeah, they got me trained pretty good instead of me training.
I know, right?
Yeah.
See, I put Bernie on a stage with Kiss. I think I showed that one already.
Yeah, we've seen that.
I was going through when I was finishing up my application for the AW to be a demonstrator there. I kept running across that photo everywhere, and now I can't find it. Ridiculous.
You put in for Portland?
Yeah.
I was out there a couple of years ago for the AAW. And
Yeah, 2018. I was a videographer that year.
were you?
Yep.
Man, Patrick.
Got to work with a lot of guys. A lot of Al Sturt and Nick Agar and Keith Gottschall and
Hans was out there. I really enjoyed him.
who?
Hans, I can't pronounce his last name.
Yeah, I was his videographer for his last rotation, I believe, on Sunday. Figures I should have saved it. I told myself, oh, I need to put that in a virtual thing, and
What are you doing?
Still the other day, and
Yeah, you'll find it. Might be next week, but you'll find it.
if I run across it again, I'll definitely open up Zoom and stick it in there. I know it's in a file that doesn't have a whole lot of pictures in
Hey, Dane, have we had anybody demo that tippy top? Didn't we have a demo on that?
Tippy top.
And, you know, where you spin it on the ball and it flips upside down onto the.
Roll on to the stem,
Yeah.
sphere type top.
No, no, we haven't.
No.
I think Cade did one of those, didn't he?
No, this
Didn't
is
you
a
do
round.
one?
This is a round top.
Well, this was a round top. I did tops before. I did.
So it's a round base, and you spin it, and it comes up on the handle.
It's like a mushroom.
Yeah, it flips over.
Yeah.
I found the one that has JP with Carl Jacobson in the picture. There he is.
Oh my.
Tippy top.
He was photoshopped into that though. It's not real.
Oh, Justin, what are you doing in here? Why?
But you can imagine having a Bernie sitting there next to him like that.
Yes, indeed.
Has anybody heard anything about Dean?
Oh, Dean
I sent him a text message on Thursday or Friday of last week, and he never responded back. So I don't know.
Yeah, he hasn't made any videos or anything for a while.
Mm-hmm. I haven't heard none.
I just wonder if he's back in the hospital or what.
Tippy top. Hmm.
I know he got that new chainsaw stuff. He might overdone it.
Do what?
I know he bought a new chainsaw and stuff. He might overdone it. People don't realize how much work they are.
Yeah.
And the bigger one you got, the more harder it is. I remember having this old McCullough, and that thing, it just picking it up was like picking up a gym set.
Old McCulloughs, man. That's nothing more than an anchor.
Yes, about it.
All right, here he is.
Throw your shoulder out. Throw your shoulder out trying to start them.
There's Ernie with Carl Jacobson.
Oh boy. Well, actually, that's an improvement.
You might have it in there somewhere. Here's some elephant seals walking on the beach.
Well, I gotta go spend some time with my wife, so.
No, you don't.
Sound like
Don't
a
sound
wise
so
man
happy
to
about
me.
that.
Doesn't sound very simple about it, does he?
But he's making a smart move, I'm sure.
Yeah. She was with her girlfriend all day today, and now she's up there and she's really bored. I can tell because she's singing the songs and she's not really good at it.
Is that a hint?
Maybe you should tell her. Maybe you should tell her. What you should do is ask her who sings that song, and when she says who it is, then you should tell her, like, why don't you let them sing it then?
Yeah.
Back to us. Let us know how that turned out.
I've already told her don't quit her day job. And that's just playing on Facebook. So
yeah.
She watches these dog videos of people being cruel to dogs and cats and whatever. And she's sitting over there just crying her eyes out. And I said, quit watching it if it upsets you,
Right.
But she can't quit watching them.
Oh my.
Yep. I
I'd
told
get
her
her device to block that stuff.
Yep. I told her, I says, if you want to see all that sick stuff, just turn on the news. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. You have a great night. It was a good meeting. Sorry about your catch tonight, but it happens to everybody.
Oh, but it wasn't a catch.
It doesn't,
Yeah,
everybody. Just us perfect people.
It's
You
what
know-
it's what happens when you don't judge your distance when you're trying to show something.
you know, I've done that many a times, is take my eyes off the spinning piece and just, you got that little fraction of an inch. And, and that's, I think that's what scares the hell out of you.
When you're doing an online demo like that, you got a lot of stuff to concentrate on. What you're making, where the camera is, you know, what you're saying, and it's a whole mixed bag. So, and I think that's why it's so easy to
Yep.
demo while you're online trying to teach.
Well, I got a lot of practicing to do before I can do a demo.
Anybody can do a demo.
Right? It's easy. Just do the catch at the very beginning, get it out of the way.
Yeah. All right, she's getting louder up there singing, so I better get.
All right.
Take care.
All right, Dan.
All right, have a great night, guys.
See you
Hey,
later.
Dan.
Just stick it in a water bottle.
Right? Right. Yeah, that's what I should have done.
Yeah, in a water bottle, and you can just call it fuzzy water.
Yeah, apple juice.
Yes, it's peach or apple juice. Yep. I would have been more cognitive of, hey, dummy, you're not back far enough to be able to show this without hitting your wood.
Now, your lathe on your camera, the way you had it angled, it looked like a Bitmark lathe. It's really weird. And it's like,
Oh, yeah?
yeah, the color. I think the color of that tape just reflected off, and it made the whole headstock look blue.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the only thing that's blue on there is
It's the way the camera.
painter's tape.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah.
Did he get a new lathe, or is he somewhere else?
Right. Nope, same one.